This is Red Eyes Radio. My name is Henrik Palmgren, and it is good to have you with us. A warm welcome to all our regular listeners, and of course to everyone who's tuning in for the first time. We are coming to you from Gothenburg in Sweden. You can follow us on a regular basis worldwide through our website, redicecreations.com. On our website, you'll find frequently updated news on our some of the things that we consider to be important and interesting. We welcome your tips, feedback, and alerts as well, of course. On our site, you'll also find radio interviews, webcasts, films, and other video material. Check out our members area as well for full access to all of our information and material. We do interviews with researchers, authors, filmmakers on many different subject matters, information that we consider to be important, interesting, urgent, and intriguing. We're not afraid to go into unknown areas and where the information leads us. No topic is off limits as we search for answers, and the conclusions about the information presented on this program will leave up to you. It's the pursuit of truth that counts. We have Twitter feeds with our latest news, YouTube channels, RSS feeds, and also, of course, sign up for our new free newsletter as well, so you can follow us at your convenience and find out what's new on the website. Okay, and today we have Dr. David M. Jacobs with us on the line. He is an associate professor of history at Temple University in Philadelphia, specializing in 20th century American history and culture. He's a former director of the American Studies program. He's been a UFO researcher for about 45 years. In 1973, he completed his doctoral dissertation in field of intellectual history at the University of Wisconsin-Madison on the controversy over unidentified flying objects in America. And this was only the second PhD degree granted involving a UFO-related theme. He's written and delivered many articles, papers, and addresses on the subject of UFOs and abductions. He's been a consultant to the major UFO organizations. Since 1977, he has offered the country's only regular curriculum university course on UFOs and abductions, called UFOs in American Society. And Dr. Jacobs delivered the first paper to a scientific organization about the abduction phenomena. This was at Cornell University back in 1989. He participated in the first session on UFOs at the History of Science Society in Washington, D.C. back in 1992. Since the early 80s, he's been specializing in the UFO abduction phenomenon. He has conducted nearly 1,000 hypnotic regressions with over 145 individuals. He has lectured widely on the subject, both internationally and at colleges and universities across the U.S. In 1991, Dr. Jacobs, together with Bud Hopkins, conducted the highly publicized Roper Organization poll of the abduction phenomena. This was actually the first scientifically random poll to ascertain the potential number of abductees in the U.S. The results of that influential survey was published in 1992, a booklet called The Unusual Personal Experiences. And Dr. Jacobs was an assistant editor for Time Life's best-selling The UFO Phenomenon, published in 1989. His second book was called Secret Life, First-Hand Accounts of UFO Abductions. That was published in 1992, and his third book, The Threat, was published in 1998. He's also written UFOs and Abductions, Challenging the Borders of Knowledge, Dr. Jacobs' first edited volume, published in 2000. And his current projects include books on the methodology of hypnosis for abductees and new developments in the hybrid integration program. And this is an area that is really, really interesting that we'll go into in more detail here later in the program. I want to mention his website, of course, ufoabduction.com. Go there for more information about his titles and about the work that Dr. David is doing. But with that, welcome to Red Eyes Radio, and thank you so much for joining us, David.
Well, thank you for having me, Henrik. I appreciate it.
It's really good to have you here, and very long bio, obviously, and as we mentioned here at the introduction, you've been researching UFOs for about 45 years, so you have a lot of information, obviously, that you've gathered during this point, and a lot of interesting things to talk about and go into here today. But one thing that would be interesting to hear right here at the beginning, maybe you can spend a little bit of time on this, just tell us how you first got involved in this, or how did you get your how did this catch your attention, so to speak, and why did you decide to take this up into a university level and curriculum and so forth?
Well, I don't really know what got me interested in the subject. When I was an undergraduate student at the University of California at Los Angeles, I just sort of began to get interested in it for reasons that I don't fully understand, and I read a book about it, and I got more interested in it. It was more for rest and relaxation, like people might read science fiction or mystery novels or something like that. And the more I read in it, the more I began to understand that this was just not a nonsense subject, that there was more to this than I had imagined. And I continued to do it. And by 1966, I was sort of captured by it in a sense, and I was intrigued by it. And I remember once that I saw in the newspaper that a UFO convention was coming to Los Angeles, where I lived, and I was thrilled that something like that was going to go on. And so I took my wife and a couple of friends, and we all went down to this UFO convention, and there was sort of a mixed bag of people, shall we say. It was the good, the bad, the ugly. And we sat on the balcony and we heard a bunch of speeches and lectures and so forth. But then the main event came, and the main event was a full-color motion picture taken by someone of a UFO hovering relatively close to the camera. And it was big, it was glorious, it was beautiful, it was spinning, it was silver, it was absolutely amazing. And if you squinted your eyes, if you closed your eyelids enough, you could avoid seeing the string it was hanging from. And that was extremely embarrassing because I brought friends with us. And at that point, I should have just said, to hell with all this. This is ridiculous. I've been duped, and I've been fooled, and gone about my business and had a normal life. But in fact, I said, well, okay, so it was a fake, so I'll move ahead. And I continued to do reading and research in it. By the time I went to graduate school in August of 1966, I determined that I was going to read every single word ever written about the subject of UFOs. Now, in 1966, that was possible. That was something when you could actually do it. It wasn't an unattainable goal. It was something that could be done. It can't be done now. Now it is impossible. But in those days, it was possible.
Just too much out there these days, right?
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's thousands and thousands of books, and it's overwhelming. So, but in those days, I started doing it, and so I started reading everything I could. And in the meantime, I was doing my own graduate work in history, and I wrote a master's thesis on the reception of Freudian ideas into the American psychological and psychiatric community between 1909 and 1929. And then I started working on my doctoral dissertation, which was on the image of women in very early motion picture history, pre-1915. And I did about 6 months worth of research in that, and all the while I'm going home and reading stuff about flying saucers. And finally I couldn't stand it anymore, so I went to the chairman of my PhD committee and told him I wanted to change my dissertation